Radha Kashipu doesn't like that so much. Don't know why. Okay. There's a little quick catch up. Not the topping, but just anyways. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Girivarada Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Jaya Radha Kalashanji Radha Kalashanji Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Shamasundar Radha Shamasundar Shri Radhe Shamasundar Jaya Radha Govind Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radhakala Sanji ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And if together we can please sing the invocation verses, both the Sanskrit and English, please. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaivam narottamam devyam sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning, and to under Sri Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta Preya Shabreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasoke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyanjamarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Okay, so today we will be going through Canto 7, Chapter 5, verses 8 through 14. And then we will come back to verse 11, and we'll talk about enemies and friends. Whew. Do we have another mic here? What I'll do is I'll read slowly this first one. Text 8, when Hiranyakashipu's servant brought the boy Prahlad back to the Gurukula, the place where the Brahmins taught the boys, the priest of the demons, Sanda and Amarka, pacified him. With mild voices and affectionate words, they inquired from him as follows.
My dear son Prahlad, all peace and good fortune unto you. Kindly do not speak lies, just reply with the truth. These boys you see are not like you, for they do not speak in a deviant way. How have you learned these instructions? How has your intelligence been spoiled in this way?
Chastised.
O best of your family, has this pollution of your intelligence been brought about by you or by the enemies? We are your teachers and are very eager to hear about this. Please tell us the truth.
Prahlad Maharaj replied, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose external energy has created the distinction of my friend and my enemy, by the deluding intelligence of men. Indeed, I am now actually experiencing this, although I have previously heard of it from authoritative sources.
When the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased with a living entity because of his devotional service, one becomes a pandita and does not make distinctions between enemies, friends, and himself. Intelligently, he then thinks, every one of us is an eternal servant of God, and therefore we are not different from one another.
Persons who always think in terms of enemy and friend are unable to ascertain the supersoul within themselves. Not to speak of them, even such exalted persons as Lord Brahma, who are fully conversant with the Vedic literature, are sometimes bewildered in following the principles of devotional service. The same Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created this situation, has certainly given me the intelligence to take the side of your so-called enemy.
O Brahmanas, teachers, as iron attracted by a magnetic stone moves automatically toward the magnet, my consciousness, having been changed by his will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc in his hand. Thus I have no independence.
Hare Krishna. Okay, back to 11, please. Shri Prarada Uvacha Parasva Cheta Asadgraha Parasvaschita asadgraha Pumsamyan mayaya kritya Pumsamyan mayaya kritya Vimyohita diham dristyas Vimohita diyam dristas Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha. Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha. Parasva Cheta Asadgraha. Pumsamyan Mayaya Kritya. Vimyohitya Dyamyam Dristyas. Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha. Bolo, please. Shri Parada Uvacha Parasvatita Sadgraha Samyam Maya Kritya Vimohita Diyam Dristyas Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha. Shri Parada Uvacha Prayasva Cheta Asadgraha Sanyan Mayaya Kritya Vimohita Diham Dristyas Tasme Bhagavate Namaha. One more, please. Shri Parada Uvacha Ras Asagraha Sayam Mayam Kritaha Vimohita Diham Dristyas Tasme Bhagavate Namaha. Word for word together, please. Shri Prarada Uvacha. Prahlad Maharaj replied, Paraha, an enemy. Svaha, a kinsman or friend. Cha, also. Iti, thus. Asat Graha, material conception of life. Pumsam, of persons. Yat, of whom. Mayaya, by the external energy. Kritya, created. Vimohitya, bewildered. Diyam, of those whose intelligence, Dristya, practical experienced, Tasmai, unto him, Bhagavate, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Namaha, my respectful obeisances. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prahlad Maharaj replied, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose external energy has created the distinction of my friend and my enemy by diluting the intelligence of men. Indeed, I'm now actually experiencing this, although I have previously heard of it from authoritative sources. Please repeat. Prahlad Maharaj replied, please let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose external energy has created the distinctions of my friend and my enemy by diluting the intelligence of men. Indeed, I am now actually experiencing this, although I have previously heard of it from authoritative sources. What's this last sentence called? What's this last sentence called in our tradition? We've got knowledge in vegan. Is that, huh? Yes, parampa. But Prahlad is speaking by vegan. I've had gyan, the knowledge, and now I'm getting to apply it. He's like, I'm seeing it, vegan, right? Thought that was interesting. Purport. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5.18, Vidya Vinyas Sampane Brahmane Javi Hastani Shunya Chava Svapakecha Pandita Sama Darshanaha. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater outcast. Panditaha, those who are actually learned, with equiposed advanced devotees who have full knowledge of everything, do not see any living entity as an enemy or friend. Instead, the broader vision, they see that everyone is part of Krishna, as confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jivera Swarupa Haya Krishna Yera Nitya Dasa. Every living entity, being part of the Supreme Lord, is meant to serve the Lord, just as every part of the body is meant to serve the whole body. As servant of the Supreme Lord, all living entities are one. But a Vaishnava, because of his natural humility, addresses every other living entity as Prabhu. A Vaishnava sees other servants to be so advanced that he has much to learn from them. Thus he accepts all other devotees of the Lord as Prabhus, masters. Although everyone is a servant of the Lord, one Vaishnava servant, because of humility, sees another servant as his master. Understanding of the master begins from understanding of the spiritual master. Yashas prasadad bhagavat prasado yasya prasadam nalagitu topi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Shakshat tardidvena samasta sastra yuktastatat bhav eda eva sadbi kintu prabhurya priya eva tasya vande guru shri charanara vindam. The spiritual master is to be honored as much as the Supreme Lord, because he is the most confidential servant of the Lord. This is acknowledged in the revealed scriptures and the following by all authorities, and followed by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances in the lotus feet of such a spiritual master who is the bona fide representative of Sri Hari Krishna. The spiritual master, the servant of God, is engaged in the most confidential service of the Lord, namely delivering all the conditioned souls from the clutches of Maya, in which one thinks, this person is my enemy and that one is my friend. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the friend of all living entities, and all living entities are eternal servants of the Supreme Lord. Oneness is possible through this understanding, not through artificially thinking that every one of us is God or equal to God. The true understanding is that God is the Supreme Master and that all of us are servants of the Supreme Lord, and therefore on this are therefore on this same platform. This had already been taught to Prahlad Maharaj by his spiritual teachers, Master Narad, but Prahlad was nonetheless surprised by how a bewildered soul thinks one person his enemy and another his friend. As long as one adheres to the philosophy of duality, thinking one person a friend and another an enemy, he should be understood to be in the clutches of Maya. The Mayavadi philosopher who thinks that all living entities are God and are therefore one is also mistaken. No one is equal to God. The servant cannot be equal to the master. According to the Vaishnava philosophy, the master is one, and the servants are also one. But the distinction between the master and the servants must continue even in the liberated stage. In the conditioned stage, we think that some living beings are our friends, whereas others are enemies, and thus we are in duality. In the liberated stage, however, the conception is that God is the master, and that all living entities, being servants of God, are one. Hare Krishna. So who's your enemy and who's your friend? Raise your hand. Oh, Mother Kunti. Mother Kunti wants to answer. Go ahead. Who's your friend and who's your enemy, Mother Kunti?
The uncontrolled mind, mine, if my mind is uncontrolled, it is my greatest enemy and can be or has the potential of being my greatest friend.
Yeah, right? The mind, when meditating on the happiness of the senses, we think, oh, this is very nice. And then when the mind becomes disturbed in the fact of pain or suffering, we automatically go to enemy, right? And the mind is so amazing that for most people, it pushes it outward, right? It pushes it onto other people and other situations. Of course, I'm the mind and I'm good. I'm here to help you. But those people are the enemy. Or that person's my friend. Me, I'm just here, Matter of fact, the mind is saying, I am. And so we start identifying as the mind, right? And therefore we think I have an enemy or I have a friend. In this duality, we are conditioned by the material nature. That's what Srila Prabhupada said in this purport, right? And Prahlad Maharaj is saying in this translation. As devotees, we want to overcome the dualities of material nature. And to do that, we must get some knowledge, right? As Prahlad Maharaj did. Prahlad Maharaj got the most wonderful knowledge from Narada Muni, and he was taught that material existence is not where it's at. Krishna is where it's at, right? And in Krishna consciousness, we see everything related to Krishna. And so, as devotees, when we are disturbed and seeing one as an enemy, I'm going to use enemy right now because it's kind of easier, right? It's a little bit hard to, we're friendly, we're devotees. So when we have friends, it's nice, right? But when we just see their disturbance as enemies, or things are our enemy, then what we can do is we can understand that we're not at the right place. At that moment, we are the problem because we're not located properly. That's interesting. But Nanda Braja, sometimes I'm at work and these people are doing things that are really disturbing. Yes, right? So what am I supposed to do about my location? I can't just leave work, right? What a predicament, right? But the Vaishnava understands that our externals are only one part. The other part is our internals. Our internal is more important than our externals. So as a devotee, when we're disturbed, internally we take shelter of the lotus feet of the spiritual master in Krishna. And in that, we can get the encouragement, the strength to overcome the material existence, the dualities of life, and start to see things in a proper way. I am confident that Krishna is my master, and therefore, as my master, he would not do anything that is not for my benefit. So, there's something in here for me to make progress towards him. And the first part of that is to take shelter. See, if we get caught up in the mind of who's our friend and who our enemy, then we're missing out on a great opportunity. Because in the opportunity to take shelter of Krishna, we become dependent on Krishna. And when we become dependent on Krishna, he uses everything for our advancement. So, what does that look like? Okay? But Nanda Braja, these people are mean. They're calling me names. They're talking behind my back. So many things. This is true, right? But we can also understand that they're not in the right place, right? They, also like us, are not situated in the proper space, spot, location. Srila Prabhupada often says that this material world is like us, like a fish out of water, right? And we're drowning. We're suffocating because we're fish out of water. We're out of water. And we're suffocating. And it's such a tough position. We can't enjoy. We have everybody else is only out for themselves. Nobody's joining in with me on how I can be happy. They're always going against it. It's just really, really so tough, And then my body's breaking down, anyway, so many things, right? So we're fish out of water. So what I would like to focus on is there's two things that this brings. One is that because we are fish out of water, we need to become internally, we need to become very strong. We need to become persistent. We need to become completely confident that our Supreme Lord, our Supreme Master, our gurus and Krishna are there for us. And this situation, no matter how bad I look at it right now, I take shelter of them, and on the other side of it is some kind of gold. Some kind of lesson, some kind of benefit that is only bringing me closer to Krishna and my guru. Second is that we're in the material world, and we have to acknowledge that, right? And so these situations that are brought to us that can remind us that we are fish out of water are Krishna's mercy also. Don't get comfortable here. It's not the place for you. This place is not meant for gentlemen. That's what Srila Prabhupada said. It's not a place for gentlemen. So as devotees, if we can take these two tools, you could say, that A, this situation is for me. I am very confident that Krishna is presenting it for me to grow stronger, to grow more confident, to go closer to his lotus feet. And B, this isn't a place for me. Then we can calibrate. We can recalibrate when the fog of material nature is pouncing on us, right? I remember reading Nectar of Instruction, and Srila Prabhupada says that he was talking about anger, but it was frustration. He says, if one becomes frustrated, that this is a symptom of material desire, right? And so I read that and I was like, okay, if I see myself as frustrated, then I need to take a breath and go, what is my material desire? Do I want to be controlling his situation? Is somebody not working for me? Am I what is the material desire? But more important than that, when we grow, is where is it that I want to go? No longer what the problem is. Okay, I'm frustrated. I must have some material desire. Okay, let me find out how to recalibrate. How do I get into a position, or how do I adjust my internals so that Krishna knows that I'm completely dependent on him? And it's really tough because we don't know what's going to happen, right? But Prabhu, if I just take shelter of Krishna, who will tell the boss about how wrong this person is? Who will tell the temple president how this person is not doing their service right? You know? So many things, right? So many things that we get disturbed in. They're unlimited, actually. I'm obviously only bringing up only two things. But if we can get to the point where we take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, if we become dependent on him, then automatically our dependency becomes that we see in the right light. We see that, oh, my Supreme Master is Krishna. He is the object of everything. He is he's the source of everything. And oh yeah, this person is also a devotee. I don't understand it right now. I can't see it. I may be disturbed. But the truth is that this person is a devotee. They may be covered in this way or that. But how hard of a time can I give them? I'm covered. I'm making mistakes all the time. So how can I, as in myself, be working towards becoming a devotee and understanding I make mistakes, but that doesn't mean that I'm not trying to be a devotee, that I look at this person and say, oh, because they're making mistakes, because they're not doing things right, that they're not a devotee. It's ridiculous. So, this can also help us to understand that other people are being tortured by the material nature, and it's rough. And therefore, how can I help? Sometimes the best help is to get out of the way. Hey, I'm not in the position, I'm not the person, this isn't my service. Let me just stay out of the way and not put fuel on the fire of this person's tough time. Sometimes it's some words of encouragement. And sometimes it's we instruct, right? Sometimes we are in the position that we instruct this person, not because we want to tell them how they're doing things wrong, but because our compassion is that we want to help them to also get free of this duality of material nature, good and bad. Oh, Krishna. Sachi Sutta Prabhu. So, friend, enemy, the duality of material existence is disturbing us. And I would like to make one more point, as I was very inspired by Rupanuga Prabhu's talk yesterday about our attitudes, right? Bhava. So at the time of death, our bhava, our attitude, our state of being is tested. What is the muscle, what is the attitude, what is the perseverance that we've developed through life? Because that's going to be quite the test at the end of our life when we die. Because everything at the time of death is taken away from us. Can you imagine that? Your position taken away. You are no longer a father, it's being taken away. You're no longer a mother, it's being taken away. You're no longer a son or a daughter, that's being taken away. Everything is being taken away at death. Everything you've developed your whole entire life around, that identity is being just like a rug. So, in this material nature, in this life, we're getting so many opportunities to be tested like this. Where do we go when our identity is taken away? Where do we go when we're disturbed? Where do we go when pain arises? Where do we go when we're happy? You imagine that you're on your deathbed and you're so full of pain medicine that you don't feel the pain, but you're so in. Anyways, I'm not going to go there. That was stupid. Never mind. Oh well, okay. Here we go. I'll adjust it a little bit. Oh, we're so happy. Look at all my friends around me. I am dying, and all my friends have come to see me pass away. Wow, how amazing I am, right? That could create some very nice desire of friendship and happiness, right? For the devotee, wow, I'm so fortunate that my friends are devotees and they're here to help me remember Krishna. Those are two different mindsets, right? One is me, and one is I am the servant. I am so fortunate. I'm showing gratitude to this mercy that I'm being given, right? So these are happening throughout our life all the time. Quite often, I should say. We're getting disturbed by things that push up against our false ego and disturb us, because it's like, don't they know who I am, or don't they, anyway, so many different things. And when that gets taken away, we get to see if internally, do we go back to, hey, you know what, I'm a servant. And then we adjust in that way. Or in life, when we're feeling gleeful, happy, friendships, are we very grateful because Krishna is so kind and he is our master. If there's any pleasure, he's given it to us, and there's any pain, he's giving it to us. So therefore, we can transcend duality because we connect it completely with Krishna. We no longer see other people as our distress and ourself as our joy. I'll stop there and ask if there's any questions, comments.
Thank you so much for a very, what's the word, introspective class. It's like inspecting, self-inspection. And really, I'm seeing that's what Prahlad Maharaj was doing with his dad. He was actually saying that this concept of my friend and my enemy is just the deluding power of the Supreme Lord. And it's nothing else. And how helpless we really are. And just wanted to appreciate what you were saying, that it's all in the mind, and there's no rehearsal for death, by the way. We don't get that chance to know exactly how it will transpire. I've asked and asked and asked, and that's been the answer. Now, some people do. For example, Rick Maharaj, he knew what to inspect in 7 days. And by then, he was so blissful, he was so absorbed in the glories of this personality of Godhead, that when Takshika, was that his name? The big snake bird came, he was oblivious. He did. It's like he bit him, and he burst into flames, and he was completely in bliss. So, like you said, we don't know if all our friends will be there or not, or if we'll have that kind of setting, but we can only pray. Anything else?
No, thank you, Matsji. Very nice. Yeah,
Prahlad Maharaj ki jai.
Jai. He's heard from Narada Muni, and like you said, he's seeing it. He's seeing, oh, this is, and he doesn't go to the fact that my father is an enemy, right? He actually praises his father in so many ways. At the end, he even asks Nrsingadev, Lord Nrsingadev, the only thing I want, if I must ask for a benediction, is for my father to be okay, right? Please do this. Can you imagine that? Wow. We get a little, somebody steps on our toe and we want to like condemn him to hell. At least me.
Prahlad Maharaj only asked for that after Lord Nrsingadev personally said, Prahlad, you must ask for a benediction.
Right.
It cannot avoid. And that, just completely loving and merciful toward his dad. Prahlad? Jai.
In our parampara, our sampradaya, our literatures, there's such a vast way of looking at things. All perspectives are analyzed. And so us as devotees, we can take these stories and we can really take them to heart and ask ourselves, is this my attitude, or how can I add this attitude into my life, right? There's some that are going to become more prevalent, right? And there's some that are less prevalent, but the Vaishnav is very broad-minded. So they can use all attitudes for the service of Krishna. However, each one of us has a flavor that is most conducive to our service. And so you'll walk around in the devotee community and you'll see some people that are very meek and humble in a way that they're very quiet and behind the scenes. And their attitude is that. And then you can see another person who's walking in a totally different way, very upright, majestic, or whatever you want to call, and very, it's very, their confidence is, you can see it, right, in a sense. And some people's confidence you can't see. Then there's the person who is, their humility is that I am worse than the worm and stool. I am always sinful in every condition of life, and how can Krishna save me, right? And then there's point being is there's an infinite amount of perspectives, and you have one. So when we see somebody with a different perspective, a devotee with a different perspective, we don't have to call this person an enemy, or we don't have to see that they are doing it wrong. We don't have to judge them that they don't, they're so puffed up, or they're so, Prabhu, stand up and do this or that or that. Like you need to do this. Anyways, the point being is that we can see the vastness that Krishna gives us to serve, and therefore it's very conducive to our Krishna consciousness to see others as devotees. And I might not understand their service, I might not understand their bhav, I might not get it, but you know what? In confidence, I'm going to see this person as a devotee, and I'm going to treat him in that way. And this way, we're putting ourselves on a very good position to make advancement. It's an attitude that can really help us to advance. The other way leads us to hell. It destroys our devotional service. We start seeing this person as, matter of fact, our mindset starts to see the critical things of people, and we see faults. And when you are very eager to find others' faults, your faults will be coming out very quickly. And you can be rough. And sometimes actually it isn't just rough, it's actually very, makes people very happy, but eventually smashed. Any other comments? We're about 7 minutes. I don't feel like, I'm feeling like maybe I haven't been very conducive to conversation. People are quiet.
Thank you for a very nice class, very introspective, as Kunti said. I just had the realization that while you're talking there, that perception is everything and it's nothing. It's such a double-edged sword that there's nothing wrong out there. Everything that's wrong is in here, in my head. Everything that's wrong is created by my false ego and my misperception of what's going on. So I thank you for that insight.
What came to my thought is that perspective is everything when it's connected to Krishna, and perspective is nothing when it's disconnected from Krishna, right? There's no value when we don't see things connected to Krishna. However, because Krishna is our friend and he loves us, there are times where we get thrown off and disturbed, and for some moments in time we're can't think of Krishna, we're disturbed, we don't know what to do, and then Krishna, because he's so kind, he stays with us. He helps us through it, right? However, we still have to be willing to accept Krishna's mercy. We have to still take shelter. We still have to say, oh, Krishna, Lord Brahma goes to the milk ocean and starts to meditate on Krishna, waiting for the answer. We chant Hare Krishna by taking shelter. Taking shelter of Krishna is chanting Hare Krishna. Krishna, I'm taking shelter of you. Any intelligence you give me, any intelligence, please let it come from you and how to move forward. And even if I can't see it this time, I'm still confident at the right moment, and when you desire, you'll give me the intelligence. We become completely dependent on Krishna. Sakshi, I'm going to say, I don't see you so much at this Bhagavatam class. Please make a comment.
Well, I just wanted to appreciate, I guess, bringing in the mind as being the enemy is definitely, I feel like there's so much to elaborate on. And I just appreciate how you were pointing out that there's a broad side to the Vaishnav, to the devotees, and then the mind can also on the other side twist, because it's the diluting energy, so many different ways. But on the other side, you also elaborated on how the devotee uses their mind and the different bhavas, the different moods that they can have, that can be completely different. So I was just, the use of the mind is very, what you elaborated on is, I feel, very important, and I appreciate that a lot.
The reason why the pure devotee is uncomprehendable, we can't understand them, because they'll be on one side and the next side completely like that, and we don't understand because we're not able to be broad-minded. Srila Prabhupada was said to be chastising somebody at one moment, and the next moment he's smiling and showing the the best smile in the whole world. From eyes of red that would make you shrink to this small, to a smile in one moment. Because it was all for Krishna's pleasure, right? And he could use everything in Krishna's service. He knew how to use anger. He knew how to use happiness. He used the whole spectrum Srila Prabhupada had for him to use. And so therefore, because we are not broad-minded like that, it's uncomprehendable how vast the pure devotee is. Any last comments?
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I've been reading this screen for a few minutes, and I don't know if I can read it to you, and you can explain one line. It says, Prahlada Maharaj replied, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose external energy has created the distinctions of my friend and my enemy by diluting the intelligence of man." And I would like to understand a little bit more the part where it says, whose external energy. If you can, thank you.
Yeah. So, see, the interesting thing is that at one point, the jiva, the soul, there's three energies of Krishna. There's the external energy, there's the internal energy, and then there's the marginal energy. Marginal energy is what we are, the soul. And so we have the choice to be an internal energy or external energy. Now, what determines whether we're an external or internal is if we want to be with Krishna or not. If we want to be with Krishna sincerely and make the choice, then Krishna helps us with his internal energy, the loving propensity of devotional service, you could say. If we have an attitude where we want to enjoy, if we want to enjoy separate from Krishna, if we want to be the center of everything and the center of attention, this really puts Krishna in a tough predicament, in a sense. Why? Because he's everything. You want to be apart from me, but I'm everything. So what Krishna does is he's very masterful in that he makes an external energy. He makes an energy that puts the person in an illusion that he isn't there. Let me give this person a sandbox to play in that I seem to be disconnected with so that they can play like they want to play and try and do the things they want to do. But Krishna, he has to put us in an illusion for that to even happen because he is the external energy. It is his internal energy. So the external energy is this sandbox, the material world that we get to play in, and we get to try, each one of us, to be the center of everything, the center of attention. And you know what? We kind of find out after a while, it doesn't work very well. And eventually, the idea is that we go, wait a minute, something's wrong here. This doesn't work. What's the story? And then Krishna, from his kindness, puts us into contact with somebody who knows the truth. Oh, well, it's not working. You're unhappy because we're disconnected from Krishna. So we need to take shelter of the internal potency. What do you think? Make sense? Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchako patarubhyascha. Kripa sindhubhyeva cha. Patitanam pavanebhyo. Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Antikuri Vaishnava Vrindi ki jai.